Cardinal Dolan. I'm Monsignor Jim Vaughn. We're pleased to welcome Robert Hanley, the author of the book, Do You See What I See? Discovering the Obvious, Finding a Better, More Meaningful Life, to our studio. Robert Hanley, welcome to Conversation with Cardinal Dolan. Great to have you.
Thank you, Monsignor.
Robert, way to go. I forget where I saw the book very favorably reviewed.
Thank you.
And I said to Joe, we got to get him on. You know what I love? You have given me homily material. Have you looked at it yet, Monsignor?
No, just got it today.
Chock full of little anecdotes,
Really?
little
That's
sayings that will perk up. You're going to be in more sermons than Jesus is because you got a lot, you know.
I don't know about that, but, top billing is already taken.
Well, it's interesting. Am I
Yes,
onto
thank you.
something that you said, look, as you look around today, you feel, you sense that a lot of people lack a direction, a purpose. They seem to be driven to find happiness, and yet they fail all the time. And you more or less say, it's there. It's right in front of your eyes. Be sensitive, embrace it, grasp it, you got it. And be happy with what you got. Am I on to, is that more or less your theme,
Yeah,
Robert?
you're convincing me that you read the book. I'm impressed with that. Yes, that's true. The book is Do You See What I See? Discovering the Obvious. And when I say finding a better, more meaningful life, the way to do that, I use true short stories.
You do.
They're all true the experiences that I've had where whether I'm pulling into a gas station or something about my career in show business or my faith. It's not necessarily a religious book. It's not a show business book. I just happen to be Catholic and
Well, you're a good
and
one
in the
if
industry.
this is any indication.
Thank you, and
Because
please spread the word.
Well, I will, and I mean this, Monsignor. It's just, remember the great book that Viktor Frankl wrote, Man's Search for Meaning?
Sure.
And that we're all, from the beginning, we're searching for purpose and meaning. Sure. Now, Bob would say, you really don't have to search for it because it's there. Mm-hmm. You just kind of close your eyes and take a deep breath and sense what you got and open your eyes and it's going to be in front of you, I think.
Do you know, I have to tell you something. I haven't, outside of my wife, I don't think I mentioned this to anybody, but I was watching Jimmy Kimmel. And having been a stand-up comedian and seeing guys in show business.
I love working in this room.
Yeah, exactly. Testing. Good to see you.
We got a drum roll here,
from
yeah.
the bridge.
Yeah.
Anyhow, he hurt his finger, and he read a book while he was recuperating, and it was Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning.
Wow.
And I thought, this is fabulous. He said, I'm looking for meaning in my life, which is what this book is about, as it says on the cover. And we've walked in the same shoes, and most people are in that category. I think there's an emptiness in them. And for me, anyhow, I was thinking of getting the book to him, which I may do that someday, I hope. But, I found out through different ministries that I've had. I had one ministry called the Entertainment Fellowship for people in the entertainment industry. And it grew to 4,000 people in the entertainment industry. And a lot of these people met with challenges in their life, whether it's using profanity, which I relate a story in there that happened to me personally with a film with De Niro and Pacino. And there are people who were in the entertainment industry, whether they were asked to do something, scenes that, let's say, were not something that you want your mom and dad to do. And it affected them, and it made changes in their lives. And so many people who were not in the entertainment industry would be married to one of these people or know of them or get a hold of the paperwork that I do for what I call the Fireside Fellowship now. And we're in our 9th year at Our Lady of Grace in Encino, California. 9th consecutive year, and they're just regular people, and I'll tell stories, as I said, pulling into a gas station or a shop in Beverly Hills, and I'll get something that seems to float past the observations of people, and if you just pay attention to those things and say, is there anything else in this that can help me, whether it's my career, my life, or whatever, to find out who I am. And we've met with great success on that. I'm looking into other parishes where we might be able to.
We're talking to Robert Hanley. Do you see what I see? Discovering the obvious. It's put out. Who publishes it?
Well, actually, you could go to En Route Books,
Way to
Sebastian Mahfoud.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
What I love is this.
Great
in
man,
a
by the
very
way.
subtle, gentle way, he brings in faith. And our friend, Bishop Robert Barron, out there in Los Angeles, I'm sure you've heard him speak. He has a beautiful line, which I think comes out in the pages of your book. We're born with a hole in our heart. And there's only one person that can fill it, that hole, and that's the Lord. And we go through life trying to put square pegs into a round hole, trying to dodge the reality. In a real gentle way, that's what you get at. Now, it's not just God personally, it's the way God reveals himself in very simple, everyday ways.
You know, I'm so glad you got to that, because I wrote this book. Being in show business, I've got people around me that don't go to church every Sunday, but they're good people. And I mean, comedians, actors, writers, they're good people. In writing this book, as I said at the beginning, some are ordinary stories, some are about my career in show business, some are about my faith. I said to myself along the way, when I was wanting to publish this, and I was hearing from publishers saying, Robert, you know, general publishers, you really ought to give this book, try going to religious publishers. And I said, well, I really think, it's for the general
It's a little more
public.
expansive, yeah.
And then I called a couple of them, and there was interest, and I had interest from major publishers on this book, but they kept me waiting for 6 months. Rodale, Harper One, and but the point I'm making that you brought up is, from a spiritual standpoint, I don't think that someone would pick up a book who is not Christian, or any faith this would apply to, but they're not going to walk into a Catholic bookstore and get a book by St. Thomas Aquinas,
Right.
generally speaking.
Are they going to walk into Barnes & Noble and buy a book called Letting God Into Your Life?
Exactly.
But if you can snag them.
And let me tell you
Yeah.
how I did. And I didn't do this purposely. I guess innately, I felt this was for everybody, and I wrote the book to help people. And a lot of people think you do it for money, and that's okay, but my goal was to help people from day one, and I've seen how that has worked with the ministries. My book, somebody, I don't know who it was, put my book on Goodreads, which is a book place online that people go to read books, and he began by saying, full disclosure, the author gave me a copy of this book. And if I meet somebody and I think it'll help them, or they don't have the money, I will give them the book.
I've seen you giving them to homeless people.
I don't, yes. And so
You just
I
gave me one.
But
Thanks.
let me, was that you?
That was I.
In
yeah.
front of the building. Lying right there.
I was hoping for a 5, but I got the book.
I was hoping to have some
So,
of that
yeah.
leftover pizza that had bites in it that
There-
you shared with me. But anyhow. But the point is, he went on to say, the full disclosure, the author gave me this book, and he said, as I started to read the book, and my words, not his here, but there were some nice stories, and he said, and then I quickly realized that the author is a man of faith.
Yeah.
And he said, as an agnostic, I am so glad I kept reading.
See? And had this been overtly religious, he would have never picked it up.
Exactly.
You tricked him.
I
And
did.
I'm glad you did, Robert.
I did, but
well
it
done. What
came
are you
from-
working on now? This ain't it, I hope.
Well,
I mean, you're gonna.
I'm working
this
on.
is-
I'm working on. By the way,
sequel?
we mentioned En Route Books.
Yeah.
ENROUTE books.com. And again, Sebastian Mahfoud has been great to me, but just a nice man. So we met and we talked about what we could do, and I like what he's doing over there. So the book, you can get it through there.
It's Do You See What I See? Discovering the Obvious by Robert Hanley, our friend, and your beautiful wife's here. And I mean this, and I don't say it all the time. You know, if you were looking for a simple, good gift to a neighbor or to somebody that's kind to you, you couldn't go wrong in this. Yeah. Anybody would like it. Atheist, agnostic, deeply religious person.
Please go
It's
on.
just good. It's just good human wisdom. We'll keep holding up the cue card, and I'll keep.
There you go. You asked me what I'm doing this Saturday. Is it this Saturday? This Saturday, I'm going to be in Fairfield at Fairfield University.
Okay.
Doing a book signing. And I am also working at bringing the Fireside Fellowship to other parishes in L.A. and wherever I wind
You
up.
got to invite him up here, Joe. Be a great
thing.
great thing to have.
Yeah,
appreciate
love it.
you.
Thank
Bob.
you. I'm honored.
Thanks.
I'm
We're honored to have
Monsignor.
you.
Thank
well
you so
done.
much. I
We love
appreciate
it.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to be with
Monsignor.
you. Good to
Thank
be
you.
with you.